all for joining us. Thank you everybody who's watching the live stream. Thank you everybody who's listening on ACIM Gather. Thank you everybody who's watching the YouTube video. Lovingly prepared for us by Reverend Kelly, our assistant minister. And watch all the YouTube videos. We have a YouTube video for every single Sunday gathering talk that we have had for almost 3 years now, getting close to 3 years, so it's pretty amazing, actually. Okay, let me move this out of the way here. Title of my talk today: Living the Inspired Life. Living the Inspired Life. Okay, so let's look at the dictionary definition of inspired. I always like to do that. It says, of extraordinary quality, as if arising from some external creative impulse. Of extraordinary quality, as if arising from some external creative impulse. And then they give an example of it used in a sentence. It says, they had to thank the goalie for some inspired saves. Look, a sports metaphor! I know! Woo! Could be hockey, could be soccer, could be hockey or soccer, right? So
lacrosse.
Oh, lacrosse too, thank you, I wouldn't have known that. Okay, so you had to thank the goalie for some inspired saves. So saves, the saves that the goalie made had an extraordinary quality, as if they came from a force that was beyond the normal force that the goalie might have. So I like to translate that word external. It just means that's like beyond what would be the normal one. So I think A Course in Miracles is something that inspires us. It inspires us to do things that are extraordinary. It inspires us to do things that are beyond what might seem normal for us to do. And for me, it's all really a doing in my life. It's a doing in the world. And I've become aware, and you know, I've known this for a while, but I've become aware that not everybody approaches A Course in Miracles this way. That some people approach A Course in Miracles because they really want this experience of God realization. They really want this experience of enlightenment, maybe they call it, or they really want this experience of what A Course in Miracles would probably call revelation, this oneness with God. And yet, as I've said a couple times recently, it's not a course in enlightenment, and it's not a course in revelation. It's a course in miracles. It's a course in miracles. Right in the title tells you what the course is about. So in my mind, that means it's a course that is inspiring us, just like the goalie is inspired to do something extraordinary that's beyond the normal. This isn't about God realization necessarily, or enlightenment necessarily. It's about healing and helping in an extraordinary or beyond the normal way. You know, the enlightened sometimes, you know, that's a great goal, and the God realized, but it can sometimes lead one to just being in a perpetual state of bliss, thinking there's nothing to do. Everything is perfect, just the way it is. That sickness over there, it's perfect, just the way it is. You know, that problem over there, I see it whole and perfect, just the way it is, so there's nothing to do. And, well, I don't know if that's necessarily what enlightenment means. I do see that and hear that coming from different people. And I always like to counter that, because I think A Course in Miracles is calling us to be helpful. It's calling us to be miracle workers. The Course says, look about the world and see the suffering there. Is not your heart willing to bring your weary brothers rest? So we see the suffering. We acknowledge it. That's what we do on the healing team. We see the appearance that is manifesting. We acknowledge it. And we want to do something about it. A Course in Miracles also says, let us not rest content until the world has joined our changed perception. Let us not be satisfied until forgiveness has been made complete. And let us not attempt to change our function. We must save the world. So, you know, we don't rest. We're not satisfied until forgiveness is complete, till everybody has joined our changed way of looking at the world, which is really looking at the world and understanding that it's just an effect of our minds that we can control and help and heal and bless. The slogan for the Great Crusade that is talked about in chapter number 1, which didn't make the second edits of the book, but it's in the earlier edits. It's listen, learn, and do. It's about doing. It's about making those inspired saves like the goalie does. It's doing things. It's like saving. I love that word. It's saving. So I want to get practical now. So I want to acknowledge some things. First of all, I want to acknowledge that we're at 875 Post Street, and this is the last time I will give a Sunday lecture at 875 Post Street, because next week Reverend Peter is going to give the Sunday lecture, and then we're gone. You know, it's history. I've grown to really like being here. I've connected with the energy of the space. We've met wonderful people here. And I think we've really, done a great job of bringing the Sunday gathering here. And I do want to acknowledge, though, what a miracle it was for us to have this place, to land after we had to leave 2269 Market Street. I'm really glad Reverend Rudy's here today, because I just really want to acknowledge him fulfilling his special function and, really allowing us to be here in this hotel lobby. That was a tough time for the Community Miracle Center to suddenly realize that, if we stay here, we're gonna go under. We're gonna go broke. We're not gonna make it to the next conference. And we got to do something. We got to do something pretty quickly. And that was miraculous too. I mean, that was really because we do really good bookkeeping that we could really see it. Because we still had money in the bank because of the conference money. It could have gotten a little cloudy and murky, but we do the kind of bookkeeping that really makes these things clear. So, that was an appearance that needed addressing, and that was a save. That was an inspired save that was extraordinary. It was extraordinary. Rudy had this hotel that we could come to. Rudy had an office space that we could rent for a reasonable amount of money. And it was beyond what might have been normally expected. It seemed to come from something larger. And Rudy played his part. Everybody played their part. The board played its part and supported it. We came here. We saved the Community Miracle Center by coming here. It was a real miracle to come here. It was inspired. It was an inspired move. It was people, the board, letting go of their perception of how things had to be, getting inspiration about the way things could be, and moving forward on faith. So that's incredible. I think living the inspired life means being able to do that, being able to make those shifts, being able to make those moves, to let go of the way things have looked and embrace something new. I had something that I'm calling an inspired shift. A miracle for me is I got my taxes done. 2 weeks ago, I didn't think I was going to make it. So doing taxes for me is really complicated because it means I have to do all my personal bookkeeping. I do my own personal bookkeeping, and I'm self-employed as a minister, but also my finances are fairly complex. I mean, it's all a matter of degrees, but they're fairly complex. I own 2 houses with my sister on the East Coast. I have a retirement account that I've had for years. I have to match every transaction, every little bit of interest that these accounts get, every little dividend reinvestment. I also have a regular investment account that I have to do the same thing to. I have 2 mutual funds that I have to do the same thing to. I have bank accounts, I have credit card statements, and then I have to keep track of every single penny I spend, because so many of them are business expenses or can be considered business expenses. And since I'm self-employed, I need to claim every possible business expense I could possibly claim, which means I have to keep a diary of everything I do and go through that diary. I'm like, who did I have lunch with? Is this a business expense? Yeah. After the Sunday gatherings, when we go out and have lunch, that's a business expense. So, it takes a while. It takes me like 3 to 4 hours just to do a month's worth of bookkeeping. So 2 weeks ago, I had done no bookkeeping for 2017. So you're talking about 48 hours of bookkeeping that needed to be done. I didn't think I could do it. And yet, I go within. I ask Holy Spirit for some help. I get some inspiration. I get the guidance. Just start. Just start. Don't give up. Just start. There's only one time in my entire life that I was late getting my taxes. I was after the October 15th deadline. And it really bothered me. And that was about probably 20 years ago. I told myself that will never happen again. I will never do this again. I will always get my taxes. It's not worth the mental anguish of not getting them done. So I just started, and it was really difficult because I'm using a new bookkeeping program. I'm using the new version of Quicken. It's really confusing. I couldn't figure Quicken out. But I just kept chugging along, and I finished like 2 days ago, last night. I gave myself like 2 hours of time to review everything. I transmitted them last night, and this morning, you know, the way it is now, you transmit them electronically, you get a little text message saying that the IRS has accepted your tax return, and the Franchise Tax Board has accepted your tax return. So I can report, you know, I was saved. I had one of those goalie saves from extraordinary ability and beyond the normal. I got my taxes done. They have been accepted. It's amazing. I think we had an extraordinary save, the Community Miracle Center, this year with the February 2018 conference in San Francisco. Going into that conference, you know, we had anticipated 400 people at that conference. We were hoping for 500, but we thought we'd at least have 350, 400. It was priced for about 350, 400. But, you know, going into it, we only had 250, you know, which wasn't good. That meant losing lots of money. And I was also getting a lot of feedback from a lot of real key people in the Course in Miracles movement that the age of the big conference is over. You know, it just doesn't happen anymore. People aren't willing. There's all these other things going on, yada, yada, yada. Could have listened to that. That would have been really logical and reasonable to listen to that. Could have not planned a conference for 2019 or planned a really small conference for 2019. But I live an inspired life. I turned it over to the Holy Spirit. I talked with my board of directors about these things. And the guidance and the inspiration was, don't step back. Don't decrease them. Increase them. Get bigger. Don't go smaller. Go bigger. You know, I mean, you got to understand how, like, illogical that was for the results that we were getting at that time. So that's what we did. We booked a conference in Boston, major metropolitan area, another major urban, right downtown. We made it on a holiday weekend. That was really controversial for a lot of people. We expanded it to 4 days instead of 3 days. And we're sold out. You know, we got a sold out conference 9 months ahead of the event. We sold out. So, I mean, it's just... Thank you. That was an amazing save. That was an inspired save. That was a miracle. You want to know what a miracle? To me, that's a miracle. When things don't look good and you just step forward the way you're inspired to step forward and you manifest a miracle. You know, all those people said, don't, I got calls from people, don't do it on Memorial Day weekend. That's terrible. You know, the large conference is gone. You know, all of that stuff, you know. All of that now is just like chatter in the wind. It's all gone. We got a sold-out conference, and we're already planning for 2020. We signed a contract for that in Los Angeles. So these are miracles to me. You know, somebody, I believe it was Marianne Williamson who said this. He goes, do you believe in miracles? And Marianne Williamson said, I don't believe in miracles. I depend on them. You know, I don't believe it. I depend on them happening. I depend on it when the things aren't looking particularly good, especially from an ego point of view. You know, I go within. I find the guidance. I find the inspiration. I have an extraordinary save. And I use abilities beyond what seem normal, and I manifest something that is different than the way things seem to be going. A little more than a year ago, I was really aware that the way we did supporting members here at Community Miracle Center, you know, it just wasn't working anymore. That people were thinking they were supporting us as a teaching organization that was teaching A Course in Miracles, but so many people have been studying A Course in Miracles for so long, they really weren't in the learning mode of A Course in Miracles, or, you know, the time for learning was over for them, at least in a certain level. You know, A Course in Miracles talks about that itself, you know, to get ready for the time when learning is over. And A Course of Love talks about that, expands that idea, and I was like thinking about that. And I just really got the guidance to expand our healing list and the way we do healing, and really start involving the members and becoming partners in a healing team. I didn't even have the name for it right off the bat. You know, I started it before I really even had the name, and just went forward, creating a healing team, a daily dedication to read a healing list, and then it was, of course, then I got inspired to write a little inspiration paragraph every single day, and that was a challenge to me, a real growth opportunity for me, and it's been really successful. As a matter of fact, somebody who was thinking of quitting the team I got an email from this morning, said, nah, she's going to stay on the team. She really loved the message of this morning. Back on the team. We got 56 members on the healing team now.
Wow.
You know, our supporting members, I think, are back up to 104 supporting members. It's saved our supporting membership, but it's also saving the world and healing the world. I mean, it's a win-win for everybody, and people connect with the idea of being part of a healing mission, you know, differently than I'll support this organization because it's teaching A Course in Miracles. They want to be a partner, and we want them as partners. I want to partner with them. And then the healing team itself is producing such amazing results. I don't know, those of you who saw it, many of you are on the healing team. Hopefully you're reading the emails. I know you don't read them every time. But we had been praying for a man who had a very severe case of cystic fibrosis. You know, his lung wasn't functioning. This is a man only like around 40 or so. And he needed a lung transplant. They were having difficulty finding a lung to get to give him. So we put that on the healing list. And so, you know, through the process of, you know, us praying, and he asked a lot of people to pray for him on Facebook. He asked to, you know, that's one of the amazing things of Facebook now. You want prayer support, you put it out there on Facebook, and people join you in prayer on Facebook. But we definitely joined. He definitely asked us to pray for him. The lung got found. The surgery happened. Incredibly complex surgery. It took, you know, it started, I think, in the afternoon. It extended all the way into the evening. It extended into the next day. I don't know how long the surgery was, like 12 hours. Induced coma for a long time. You know, they got to give the body so that he's induced coma. Didn't know how he was going to be. And this week, you know, out of the coma, sent us a picture of him. Looking pretty good for a guy that's still got a lot of IVs in him, but a big IV from his neck had been removed, and he thanked us. You know, he thanked everybody. He said, I came off the ventilator today, and they also removed one of the IVs from my neck, making improvements every day. Thanks for the support. It's very humbling. You know, you get little messages like that for people who are grateful. So yeah, the healing team has been wonderful for the CMC, but it's wonderful for the people that we're praying for, and it's wonderful for those of us on the team to give us this sense of purpose and to heal ourselves by extending healing to others. The Course says, the sick who ask for love are grateful for it, and in their joy they shine with holy thanks, and this they offer you who gave them joy. So the sick are grateful for our help. It's a wonderful function to have. And I don't know how that connects with enlightenment and God realization and revelation. I don't think it's the same thing. I think miracles are something else. They're not contrary to that, but it's not the focus of A Course in Miracles. And in the reading that Reverend Peter read, it talks about, you know, maybe you want this experience where you're going to feel one with God all the time. And it says, but this is so rare that it cannot be considered a realistic goal. I mean, it can't be any clearer than that A Course in Miracles is not about that, because it's calling it so rare that it can't be considered a realistic goal. A Course in Miracles is about miracles. It's about extraordinary saves by using a power that's above and beyond you. A couple of months ago, again, heard from Reverend Rudy, selling this building. We got to find a new place to meet. And, you know, that was challenging. And we've been existing fairly well with the people, the residents here. But, you know, just around that time, complaints about us being here started to come in too. It's like, okay, you know, we really got to get out of there. I get it. And so, you know, to looking for a place, can't find a place. And then Reverend Vincent comes up with, you know, again, an extraordinary save. And we're going to move in 2 weeks into this amazing facility, the city-owned building that used to be a Masonic temple, statuaries on the outside of the building. King Solomon, I believe that is. This amazing archway. It's accessible. For 30 years, one of the big complaints about coming to the Community Miracle Center, there's always stairs and steps. We're going into a place that's 100% accessible. In a nice area of town. It's so central. It's like at a transportation hub. You can get there from any place in the city really easy by public transportation. And so this is a pitch. So everybody, please come to that very first week at 25 Van Ness. Reverend Vincent's going to be speaking appropriately since he's the one who manifested this place. But it's also his birthday the very next day. So, I mean, look how things line up. These are extraordinary saves. This is miracle. This is what miracle is. This is what studying and practicing A Course in Miracles is. We'll have cake and champagne. So please come join us. I got one more miracle extraordinary save I want to talk about. I mentioned this last week. You know, I had my routine medical test, and they found what my doctor wanted to talk to me. I mean, my doctor never wants to talk to me. We found a substantial amount of blood in your urine, Tony. And so, you know, we just look at it, and I did some investigation, and, you know, my urine looked fine. It was clear and not dark at all, and that's actually called medically microscopic. You know, they have to use a microscope to find that. So that's called microscopic amount of urine in your system. So I said, you know, the word microscopic and substantial don't go together to me. But my doctor wanted me to schedule a CAT scan, and so I scheduled the CAT scan. But about Monday, I just woke up with this idea that says, you just need to do this test again. There's something wrong here. There's something wrong. Your urine doesn't show anything that would be near substantial. Maybe they got your urine mixed up, or maybe they just did the test, or I don't know, just do the test again. And you know, and I've had this experience once before, about 15, 20 years ago, where I got a really bad test result, and then eventually I was guided to do the test again, and the second test result, it started to normalize, and by the third one it was totally normal, and they called off the biopsy that they thought they were going to do. So I talked to my doctor. He didn't really want to do the test again. No reason to do that. Just go carry through with the CAT scan. I said, I want to do the test again. He goes, okay. Scheduled the test. I did the test. The test results came back, no blood in my urine. This is an extraordinary save, I think. You know, with a force from beyond. This is what I call a miracle. You know, things just shift. Things just change. And I got that guidance from Spirit. I was inspired to call the doctor. And, you know, you got to challenge your doctor. So I have a long history of challenging. I work with the medical establishment, but I consider them partners. I don't put them in charge. I'm in charge of my own health care. I work with them. They give me information. They're experts, but I make the final decision. So I wanted that other test result. And then so my doctor says, okay, I guess we can call off the CAT scan. So we called off the CAT scan. So, you know, I've just delineated, I think, 7 things that I would call inspired miracles. Let me run through them again. Our move here saved us in that moment that we need to be saved. The 2018 conference in San Francisco looked dire. Boldly moved forward, got a sold-out Boston conference. My taxes, didn't think I could do it, got saved. The healing team, amazing. Saved the CMC. The healing team, amazing. Saves and heals people like Danny with this terribly complex and dire lung transplant. Our move to the new space at 25 Van Ness. Beautiful place, saved us from having to leave here. The problem of having to leave here. Blood in my urine, no blood in my urine. This is what living the inspired life is about. These are what miracles are about. I don't believe in miracles, I depend on them. That's my talk for today. Thank you.